Welcome back. In this third lesson of leadership series, now we'll understand why should we learn leadership or why should we study leadership qualities. As I have told you before, leaders are partially born. Something like many of us or many of the great people who have emerged out as leaders, they had seeds of leadership into them at their birth. But if you do not inculcate those seeds and if you do not grow those qualities into you, those seeds or those qualities with which you are born will be wasted out. So it is mandatory that we should groom or we should uplift those qualities so that if you are really having those qualities in you, you can become a great leader. Now, reasons why should you study leadership? As I told you that leaders are not born, they have to be trained. Because you have certain qualities, but you will not grow as leader unless you have polished or you have given a shine to those qualities. That is why you should learn or you should understand leadership traits. Another thing we will tell you that to practice leadership, the start point is for anybody. You should train yourself with your own consent that you want to become a leader. Nobody will inject those qualities into you. Only guidelines can be given, but it is a self-decision that should I grow as a leader or should I not. To start at this point, one should inculcate the habit. First, you should write down your strengths and write down your weaknesses. There are many people in the world, if you ask them today, most of us, that you please write 10 good qualities you have and maybe 10 bad qualities which you have. We will not end up writing more than 2 to 3. So, if you want to grow as a leader, inculcate the habit of playing a match between your good qualities and the bad qualities. Try to balance out your bad qualities and also take advantage of your good qualities. But unless you know it, you are good at what? You will not be able to utilize that. So that is the first key point, that understand your caliber. Speak to yourself. There is no parameter, there is no instrument in the world which can measure you as a personality. There will be nobody in the world better than you who can calculate your good and bad qualities and also tell you that this is your strength, go ahead in this direction, you will succeed. So, talk to yourself. Learn about yourself. It sounds very funny that how and why should I learn about myself? I know myself very well. As I initially told you, you do not know much about yourself. So please elaborate on your good and bad qualities. That is the first reason why should you learn leadership. Next is, leadership learning is to teach you to take right decisions. You may be taking decisions. A calculative decision, a decision at the right time, and a decision with calculated risk. These things have to be learned and practiced if you want to become a good leader. This is second reason as to why should you learn leadership. Next is, you should start taking risk or you should learn how to take risk. Because until and unless you learn how to take risk, you are scared of the risk and the challenges, you will never make a good leader. Any task you take up, whether good or bad, easy or difficult, There will be difficulties into that. There will be challenges. There will be failures. So you should know how to handle these equations. Only then you will be becoming a good leader. Next point is, you should learn the professional excellence. That is requirement of one of the good leaders. And that is why you need training as to how to gain your professional excellence. It will add up to your personality as a leader. That is another reason you need to learn leadership. Next is, as I told you, you should brew yourself, you should grow your own seeds into you. What you are best at, start taking advantage, and what you are not, you can select a path different from that. That will make your personality as a good leader. Next is to generate an attitude of never stopping. By learning and by practice, you can generate this attitude. Many of us in the initial stage of life, when we find difficulties, we either change the course, okay, this is not right, I will go this way, or this is not right, so I will not do this job. That doesn't make you a leader. You should continue in the direction which you have taken and ensure that step by step you keep progressing. The time will come when your success step will be just half an inch away and you will get that. Next is to develop a quality of trust. Trust means when you are working by yourself, you may be very efficient, you may be very knowledgeable, but you have to trust your team. You have to delegate responsibilities to them. You cannot be doing everything by yourself. So, whatever work you have to achieve or whatever result you have to achieve, ensure you trust your fellow, your team members, and you give them the task and responsibility. Let them make mistakes. No problems. You are there to correct them. You are there to take the onus of that difficulty and responsibility. But unless you do that, your team will never grow, and all alone you will not make a good leader. Because leader is for what? Leader is for a team. And if you are all alone, then what are you? An individual. You are not a leader. So, be with the team. Next is you should inspire, motivate, and reward. You have to learn to motivate people. If they do something very good, you have to reward them, recognize their work, and not just ignore them. Because in any work, a smallest possible contribution needs recognition and needs rewards, because that is how your team will grow. If you are making, say you are making a small cycle only, but if you miss out one particular screw into that, that cycle will not be perfect cycle. So the person who is putting that small screw has to be recognized, and he has to be told that you are doing a good job. That is why you have to learn leadership to inculcate these skills. Next reason as to why should you learn leadership is to train you to become a good listener. Unless you listen to others, you will not be making a good leader. You will try to jump the gun, and many a times you will end up getting into the contradiction rather than getting into the discussion. Discussion is something which will generate a positive result. A contradiction is something which will generate a rivalry into any of the dialogue which is going on between two people or two parties. So this habit has to be inculcated. That is why you need training on leadership. Next thing is to train that you should remain calm in all possible situations. As a leader, there will be sufficient amount of pressures on you, there will be sufficient amount of challenges, maybe dislikes and likes, there will be sequence of that. You have to ignore some of the things, you have to learn to ignore, because if you carry everything into your bag will become so heavy that you will not be able to carry that bag. And you will end up as a failure, not as a leader. Next thing is, as I told you before, training needs that you should be trained as a team player. Unless you are a team player, you cannot be branded as a leader. So, next is, you should have solution to every problem, and not that you become problem to any solutions. You should not learn to criticize people. Even if you come across something which is not correct, as a leader you have to learn how to have a dialogue in the meeting, in public, in groups, and tell your points, stress your points if it is correct, and convince other part that I am right because of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reasons. That makes you leader. If you contradict right away, you will not be listened to, and you will end up finishing off that environment, and you will damage yourself. Next is, as a leader you have to learn how to give strength to your team. Unless you give strength to your team by their training, by motivation, by their appreciation of the performance, or by any other method, the team will only then follow you. If you do not do these activities, team may not follow you and you do not remain as a leader. So these are the reasons which I wanted to discuss as to why should you learn leadership. I am sure these points are well elaborated and you will understand the reasons to learn the leadership in your life. Thanks a lot. Take care.